Yeah, you thought there weren't going to be any more decade videos, but you were wrong. So I know the general rule it would be to do songs first and then albums next when you're doing year-end lists and decade lists or whatever, and that's usually how I stick to it as well. But not on this occasion, because you will see why for part 2 of this video, and you'll probably get a rough idea as to why it took a little bit longer than the albums video list. So get ready for that. There is another reason too, actually. I guess it's just harder to rank songs for me. I don't know why, but ranking songs, like narrowing down songs, especially across 10 years. Do you know how many songs come out? Like, albums is hard, but there's way more songs than albums, obviously, so that shit's really hard to me. It wasn't harder to rank or anything like that, I wouldn't say, but it was just a bit more difficult to contain the narrowness of 100 songs. Like, you could do 500 songs for a decade, and that would make sense. Like, I don't think anyone could really argue with 500 songs, because, like, yeah, there's been millions of songs across a decade. Ranking it to 500 would seem more reasonable, but that would take fucking ages. So we are at 100 songs, part 1, 100 to 51. I hope you enjoy. We're gonna get into this. Share around if you like the video. You haven't seen the video yet, but I'm just telling you to share it now because you're gonna like it, so share it now, okay? Subscribe too if you haven't already. That would be great. Consider looking at my Patreon. I haven't really updated it much. I may have a look at that because not really many people have seemed interested, so I wonder if I need to change something about it. But check it out anyway. Consider donating, and watch my other decade videos. They've been really fun to do, and the reception's been great. So if you haven't seen those, watch those before this one, and let's get into it. At number 100, oh my, decide is to number 100. We got Travis Scott with Oh My Decide, my favourite song from Rodeo. I mean, it was pretty much the one song I think everyone kind of agreed upon that was the best, generally. Maria, I'm Drunk is a very solid choice too. Antidote is also a solid choice. There's a lot of great picks on Rodeo, actually, but yeah, this is probably my favourite Travis song ever, and it deserves to be here. A surprise pick for number 99, because this isn't really the talked about song from Angel Olsen's discography. I love All Mirrors, by the way. I love that song. It was high up on my year-end list for 2019, but The Waiting is actually the one that I think is her best song. Like, I just love this shit, man. I don't know why or how or what exactly she's doing here that hits me the way it does, but yeah, this is amazing to me. I think the more I listen to Divers from Joanna Newsom, I realise that Goose Eggs might be the best track. I think Leaving the City is also a great pick, and Sapo Nakin is great, but Goose Eggs is just Joanna at her best. Everything Joanna does is at her best, but Goose Eggs, yeah, I love that shit. The best song from Idols, I think, thus far in their career, Mother. I find the song really entertaining, and then as soon as that chorus hits, man, oh god, I just want to fucking punch things. It's so good. Don't you know you're queen? That's a number 96 from Perfume Genius. You guys know how much I love Perfume Genius, and I think Queen was such an interesting change of pace for Perfume Genius, actually. Like, going from the previous 2 albums to then this being the lead single, I thought was really quite bold, actually, and it ended up being amazing. And it's aged really well too. I feel like the song has held up so well. But yeah, what a great song. Cranes in the Sky from Solange, one of the few songs from Solange I think that, like, hits me the way it does. I know a lot of people love A Seat at the Table, and some people even loved the latest album that she dropped too, which didn't really get that much of a warm reception, but people liked it, and I thought it was decent too. But Cranes in the Sky is just like such a perfected R&B track. Like, this is like R&B at its absolute best to my ears. Prom King from Saba next. We got Prom King here. I love the way this track is written. I think it hits a point in the song where I'm just like floored by how he's writing it, and just listening to him detail this story is incredibly painful. But yeah, I think this is some really strong storytelling, I know some people are a little bit dull, but I don't really feel that at all from Saba, and I think the way he wrote this song was really, really good. The incredibly rhythmic track from Soichi, Terada, and Shinichiro Yokota here do it again on the Soichi Terada album from 2015, which I think is such a great dance album. And this is just like a buzzing highlight. Like, oh my god, I just can't deny this track at all. I think the vocal sampling as well is just so like soft, and it's just so fucking good. Like, these guys like are just doing this underground dance style that's not really getting any recognition at all, but it's genuinely some of the best dance music I think I've heard in the 2010s, and this is just the best example of that. I've got Bentley next here at number 92 with the track Catch Light. This was on my 2019 list as well. Had to be in the top 100 too because of how good of a rock song it is. There aren't really many rock bands out there that do rock music the way Bentley do, but this is actually one of their more heavier tracks. Like, this is really quite heavy. Like, I feel like this could put people off with like how I guess mechanic it sounds on the chorus, like with the sort of like chainsaw guitars kind of scraping together. It's really quite interesting the way it's recorded and produced, but I think it's fucking great. The funky as hell Slumlord from Neon Indian at number 91. A blatant throwback to like the 80s here. I think Neon Indian really didn't shy away from that era at all. And sort of another throwback type of track here. We've got Ariel Pink with the track Round and Round with the band Haunted Graffiti. This is actually the best track I think Ariel Pink ever made. Like, I do like Pom Pom, but I think this, again, throwback to that 80s era, sort of like sophisticated type pop a little bit in there as well, some of that synth dance work going on. I think this is just such a clever song. Like, the way it's structured, I just find really quite amazing. The band Hinds with Linda here. I don't know what it is about this song, but like, that fucking guitar melody is just foolproof. Like, it's the most simple guitar melody you may ever hear in a song, but like, they fucking nailed it. Like, how did they make this song so good? It's just the most stripped back track that's even on the album as well. Like, I don't know how they did this, but I love this. The momentous, triumphant Rain in Soho next at number 88 from the Mountain Goats. The Mountain Goats, I've already said, are like one of the most consistent bands of all time. Even though Transcendental Youth was the album that I named as my favorite of theirs from the 2010s, Rain in Soho is like probably top 10 songs ever from this band. Like, holy shit, the way they fucking made this song is so damn good. Again, it's kind of like got that dramatic feel that sort of bent knee go for too, and I think it's fucking great. I think the band Haim are pretty underrated, man. Like, I think Haim are pretty sick. Haim are good. Haim are a good band, and I think the track Falling is one of my favorite pop songs from the decade. Like, this track's so fucking good. Like, the whisperiness of it all, and then the chorus comes in. It's kind of got like that chill wave type thing going on as well. A little bit like inspiration from that sound in the early 2010s. I love this thing, man, and Haim are killing it with singles recently. So I'm looking forward to see where they take it in the next year or so. Florence and Machine next here at number 86 with a song that depicts like a breakup really quite well, I think. And I think this might be their best song, actually. I think the use of instruments on this track, like, they really killed it on this album with like defining their sound, honestly, and they carried it over to the next one after this, but I think this album here was slightly better, and I love this song. The best Milo song, in my opinion, Souvenir with Hemlock Ernst on the guest verse. This is genuinely one of my favorite guest verses in hip-hop of the decade, without a doubt. And obviously, I was waiting on that Hemlock Ernst album for years, and we finally got it in 2019, which I thought was really great. But Milo on this track, God, like, when he's at his best, I just think, like, this is the Milo that I want to hear all the time. Like, it's just so like I guess what's the word I want to introverted. Like he's such an introvert type of character, and when he incorporates that into his music, the sample used on here is perfect too. What a great hip hop track. The incredibly sultry and smoky song from Timbre here. We got Hot Dreams. That instrumental at the end of the track. Wow, I die when I hear that song. That is cream-worthy music right there. Like, oh god, like this is the type of shit that you want to get married to. Like you're getting married, this is what you want to dance to, alright? This is your dance song. So I've named it now for you. So make sure whenever you get married, you choose this song. Frank Ocean next with Forrest Gump. I just think this is just a really simple, catchy pop tune. Like, I feel like Channel Orange was great for that. Like, you know, you just kind of had these short little pop tracks. You got like Sierra Leone, tracks like that. Like, Frank was killing it with those songs. And I think Forrest Gump is actually the best track on the album too. School Fiction next from Kinoko to Koku. God damn it. I keep looking at this list, man. I'm like, these songs are fucking good. Like, what is this? This is such a good list, guys. I'm sorry to brag about that, but Jesus Christ, what a great shoegaze rock track this is. The kind of shoegaze I typically like when it's rockier. Yeah, School Fiction just is so good. Kanye West next with Power. I think the exclusion of Kanye may confuse some people on my albums lists that I did. He wasn't even in the honorable mentions, so that's kind of goes to show my opinion of Kanye in the 2010s, I must admit. But My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is undeniably a good album, and Power is honestly one of his best songs. Like when he's at his best with this type of production, I think it's really creative and skillful as well. Like the skill set he has for production, I think, is really strong. 212, Azealia Banks and number 80. You know, what can I say here? It's like, this is one of those bangers that was just so unique for its time, and even since, like, no one's really come out with a track like this. Like, Azealia Banks on her day, she drops some great music. I just want to hear that, but she's just a bit of an idiot, really. She just talks so much shit, and it's kind of annoying. The Addictive, So Hot You Hurting My Feelings from Caroline Polachek next. Man, this track is just so playful, isn't it? Like, the idea of this song is so simple, yet it hasn't really been written in the way that Caroline wrote this, and it's fucking great. The beautifully atmospheric track from Beach House next with Zebra. Like, oh god, this track is just heaven, isn't it? And Beach House, again, like, they're one of those bands that when they're at their best, they just put out such good music, and Zebra is the best example of that. Another artist like Kanye, who may have got people's heads scratching as to why they were excluded off my decade lists, but Flying Lotus with Do the Astral Plane was onto something here. Like, this was the best track from Cosmic Armor, I think. One of the best of his career. Shinichiro Yokota next, again with Tokyo from his I Know You Like It album. My favourite track on that album. Although, honestly, on any given day, I could pick another track from my favourite from there, because I just find something to love about each track all the time. The amazing song from Epic from the artist Sharon Van Etten here with One Day. Like, holy shit, I just love the way this track is written and recorded. Sharon Van Etten, man, at her best, is just, like, unreachable, honestly. Katie on a Mission from Katie B. Katie B is the unsung hero of the 2010s. Like, she really deserved way more love than she ever got. And I'm just sad. Like, I feel Ricky with this, honestly. Like, he said this before too, but, like, why did she never get bigger? I think she had, like, a few tracks after this album that made it into the charts in the UK, but, like, that was kind of it. Like, she didn't really break past that. What's all that about? Why did we do that to her? This is terrible. Absolutely terrible. You Seem So Happy from Japanese House. I've said so many times before how good this friggin' song is. Like, it's so good. It's just so good. Do you go hard in the paint? I think I go hard in the paint. I think Flocka would be pretty proud of me if I told him that I go hard in the paint. One of Frank Ocean's best songs, in my opinion. Whether you agree or not, I don't really know, but I would say American Wedding is totally deserving of this pick. Yes, of course, it's the Eagles song. It's just the Eagles instrumental, but like what he does with it, with his lyrics, I think is genius. And just the idea of him like kind of ripping apart the marriage norms, I think are pretty smart too. And yeah, like there aren't really many songs like this in the way they're written, and Frank fucking nailed it. Just to disclose, by the way, I have no problems with marriage or weddings or anything like that, but I think it's just worth critiquing and looking into from a different perspective, because we do as a species put a lot of emphasis on the idea of marriage, and then obviously we see so many times like it ends pretty badly, and then there are kids involved, and you know there's just so much that can go wrong, and so many people are married that aren't actually even happily married, things like that. Like I think Frank Ocean just does a great job of like depicting that in this song, and I applaud him. Danny Brown next with Best Life. I love this track. Probably my favorite track of his, actually, the more I think about it. I don't really think there are any other tracks that I would say I love as much as this one, even though it might be one of his most straightforward tracks to date. It's certainly not as like, you know, instrumentally as impressive as Ain't It Funny, which I do love as well, by the way. But I just think Best Life just is a celebration of a song where he's kind of coming to terms with realizing that, you know, his life is getting better, and he's realized that the life he was living before was just taking him down too far of a dark path that would have led to misery. And I just love stuff like that. I love come-ups. I love comebacks. I like the underdog story of like someone coming from nothing to something, and it's not just like mindless bragging of him being like, oh yeah, I'm the best now and you're shit or whatever. Like, you know, he's got a purpose to the song, and I love that about it. Marina and the Diamonds next, Mowgli's Road. Honestly, when you listen to how quirky her voice is on this song, you kind of realize that there isn't a lot in pop music that really came quite close to this in the 2010s. I'm not saying it's experimental or adventurous or weird or whatever, but like I just think what Marina was offering in the early days of her career was pretty special, and I think this song really shows that. Sharon Van Etten again with 17. I friggin' love this track. I love the lyrical arc of it as well, just the way she's speaking from a perspective of experience and just kind of telling a younger person that, you know, things aren't quite the way she sees them at the moment because she's so young, and Sharon realizes that, you know, with life experience you'll see that things change. I like this track. I like tracks that do this, and there'll be another track later on too that explores a similar thing to this as well. An absolute rap banger here from Pusha T with The Games We Play. I don't care what people say, man, this was the best track from Daytona. Like, I said it from the start, like, this track is just unmatched. Like, fucking Kanye's production on here, what was I saying earlier about his, like, skill set of how he can just use the perfect samples and instrumentals for the artist he's producing for, and often himself too. But, like, Pusha T fucking kills it on this track, and that hook, fuck, man, yeah, what a great rap song this is. Anderson .Paak with Bubblin', a really cool direction for Anderson .Paak to go in with this one-off single that really surprisingly never made an album, but just for a standalone single, it's actually one of his best songs, and probably could have done with going down this direction a little bit more. But like, yeah, this is just Anderson .Paak having a great time. Like, there's nothing more to it than that. It's just one guy having a load of fun, and that's how he wants to express it in a song, and I can't really say no to it when it sounds this good. One of the most blissful pop songs of the decade for me, Stay With Me from Hachi. I just think the way this track is produced is gorgeous. It's just so cloudy and heavenly. Like, wow, holy shit, her voice is just so good to listen to as well. Another artist that people say drowns in her influences a bit too much, but like, she kills it, so I don't really care about her influences, you know. And that last stretch of the song as well, where like the instrumental just breaks free, oh, it's so good. Old English next, man. What a fucking rap banger this one is. I keep mentioning rap bangers, but like, we got Young Thug, Ferg, and Freddie Gibbs all on one track, and Jesus Christ, did they all bring it to this one? Like, why was this never a hit or anything? I don't think it made it into the charts or whatever, but like, God, this is crazy. What an absolute fucking banger of a song this is. The beat is just so nasty. Oh, so good. My girl Leanne LaHarvest next with Green and Gold. Yeah, Leanne LaHarvest is just a neo-soul queen, and Green and Gold is a really lovely and delicate track. The absolute ground shaker of a closing track from the Age of Ads. I don't know if there are any other closing tracks on my list, like I haven't really looked to see, but this might be like the closing track of the decade. Like, what the hell did Sufjan think of when he made this song? I don't know. Like, wow. Just wow. Like, what a daring track to do, and for it to end up being as good as this. How the hell? Mother's Song from Masakatsu Tagaki. I feel like if you're an emotional type of person, someone that's very in tune with their feelings, which I am like absolutely not, and I'm just dead inside, then this is a type of song that could easily make you cry. Not me, but it would probably make you cry. Like, it just really, really hits, doesn't it? Like, the way he makes this piano type bass music is just so special. Like, Masakatsu, oh man, what a king. It's Alright, I Understand from the Smith Street Band. This is just some of the most passionate music, I think, of the 2010s. Like, the Smith Street Band are really quite underrated in the way they write their music, and this is a really, really fantastic song. This amazing psychedelic trap experience, which is something I never thought I'd actually say out loud, but Location from Playboi Carti is a pretty special song, and I think like an achievement for the genre too. Like, there aren't really many other artists that came through with this hazy, murky type of sound that Playboi Carti was able to do in this area of music. He is quite a special talent. Stranger's Kiss at number 58 from Alex Cameron and Angel Olsen, a really, really fun little duet here. I don't think it's like the funniest track from the album, but there are some pretty funny lines that Alex throws out, and I think they have such good chemistry on this track too. It's just such a great duet here that I don't think even Dirty Dancing could ever live up to. And I don't know why I referenced Dirty Dancing, but I for some reason thought of that Dirty Dancing song that's really popular in the UK even like 30 years later, but this kills that song. One of my favorite Roots tracks at number 57 with How I Got Over, the title track from their 2010 album. I love this track. I think it's fairly empowering as well. I think the way that it's written, just sort of spreading this individuality type of message of like, you know, at the end of the day, you gotta look out for yourself, and sometimes you're gonna be in need of people, but they won't be there for you, so you've got to really, really stay alert, get your wits about you, as people say. And I like the way they're spreading that message here. You know, ultimately that'll be how you eventually get over and get beyond the point in life where you're finally, you know, feeling comfortable and safe. And I think it's a pretty strong message to send. There will be a few more Injury Reserve tracks to come, but everybody knows from their Live from the Dentist Office mixtape still holds up to me as one of my favourite rap songs of the decade. There are some pretty corny lines that come out of Groggs' mouth, I must admit, but he just sounds so good over the beat, and it just snaps so hard. Like, I just can't say no to this kind of production, man. Pocket Corey is out here killing it. So I mentioned a similar sister type of song to the Sharon Van Etten 17 earlier, and this is that track here at number 55 with Halfway Home from Laurie McKenna. I find the way, I actually mentioned this in my albums video too, but I just like the way that she's just offering this advice to younger girls out there to kind of keep alert and realize that, you know, these guys that you're getting with ain't all that, and you gotta realize that they're not gonna really do anything for you and be there for you. So look out for yourself, and it's a really positive message to send, to be honest. One of my favorite tracks from Kate Tempest here with the Beigeness. This is my favorite track from Everybody Down, which is her most rap-fueled album, and I think this track perfectly shows how she goes, you know, head-to-head with many other rappers in music, to be honest, with the way she's flowing over this track. The beat selection here as well is pretty damn strong for her style, and her lyrics are, as always, some of the best in the game. A few more to go for part one now. We got Regina Spektor with The Visits. I've mentioned how I just love how inviting this song is in my video of Regina Spektor's Remember Us to Life, and it's exactly that. I just love the way it just sounds like Regina's sitting down with you and ready to just talk the talk with you and just lay all this life advice on you. I just love that about her so much. And also as the closing track as well on Remember Us to Life, it's sort of like her kind of like expressing that, you know, she's just sat you down through all these little stories, and then now it's like her saying thank you to you for stopping by and visiting and listening to her tell everything she's told in her life, essentially. And I like the way you can interpret it in a few different ways, and yeah, it's still such a great song as a standalone song anyway. I have now just realised that I think it beats out Impossible Soul for the closing track of the decade, but, you know, it doesn't change the fact how good Impossible Soul is anyway too. But yeah, you know how much I love Regina. Not being the biggest fan of Courtney Barnett in the 2010s, to be honest, but I think Avant Gardener is such a great track. Like the way she the way she's singing on this track, I think, is just really, really kind of funny. Like her mundane voice almost feels like ironic to an extent, because the instrumental doesn't quite match the way she's singing, and yet it just works so well. And I just think this was what I wanted more from her with. It's just a bit bolder, I think, in terms of its sound, whereas a lot of her other tracks on the following albums kind of felt quite nondescript. But this track here, I know exactly who it is and who she is with this one. It's so good. And finally, just missing out of the top 50, we have Inspector Norse from Todd Terje. Now, this is just some flavorful and tasty dance music right here. Like, Todd Terje, man, why did no one love him as much as they should have throughout the 2010s? I know he only dropped like one album, but like, it's such a good album. And Inspector Norse is one of my favorite electronic tracks of the decade too, and it was so close to making the list, but it just got bumped out. So yeah, it's fucking good. And that is it. I gotta end here because my throat is feeling really gross and sore and stuff. I've been talking all day, and then I came home to record this. Probably not the best idea, so I hope you've stuck with me and enjoyed the video, and maybe you weren't annoyed by my voice or whatever. But part 2 will be coming soon anyway, so hopefully you look out for that and are excited when it gets released, because it will be a little bit more entertaining than what I've been doing in this one. But I've actually quite enjoyed just sitting down and talking about individual tracks for this video. I think it's been pretty nice. I wasn't entirely sure how to do it, but when I realized the way I do it, I was pretty excited to get it out there with you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I do. Tell me your thoughts on my picks as well, if you thought there'd be some tracks that didn't come in this first part, and you know, you're surprised they've been left off. I'm not going to do honorable mentions for songs because I think it'd just take a bit too long, to be honest, and you know, these videos are pretty lengthy to create, so I hope you're enjoying what I'm giving you anyway. Thank you for watching my video. Tell me something in the comments, anything, do whatever you want. Subscribe. Have a good day. Goodbye. I listen to these songs if you've never heard them, by the way. Some of them you might not know. Please go check them out. Goodbye.